Good evening, dear viewers, and welcome to the News Bulletin at 8, brought to you by number one news provider Eswatini TV. I am Nondumiso Vilagata alongside Zaman Zimanze, and here are your top stories. The Prime Minister has officially launched the Insiga Elixir Salensha Eswatini Youth Empowerment Program at Mbaga. The Minister for Tourism and Environmental Affairs says the issue of climate change is getting worse by the day, which requires everyone to play a part. Vaccination certificates will be required to gain entry in Parliament for the opening of the 5th session of the 11th Parliament. The news in detail. The Prime Minister Cleopas Dlamini has officially launched the Insiga Elixir Salensha Eswatini Youth Empowerment Program at Mbaga under Dogotweni Nkundla, which has been supported by the Republic of China and Taiwan with 5.1 million emalangeni. Making his remarks during the event, the Prime Minister says the program is meant to ensure that the youth is able to start sustainable businesses through vocational skills.
The Prime Minister is tasking different youth stakeholders to formulate policies that will ensure the youth gets jobs in government projects. He has stated that the program will assist 400 youth in total, which will be 100 young people from each constituency.
We are encouraging the youth to take advantage of this program. We are encouraging government to consider allocating certain portions of the capital projects to these young people so that they can then develop and grow. I'm also saying when we talk of mindset change, we are talking about changing even the culture of looking at things. When we are allocated resources, take that as a loan, be used to the culture of borrowing and then repaying.
Taiwan's Ambassador Jeremy Liang says the empowerment program is meant to help the youth to be financially independent.
We need to give young people the tools that they need to become productive citizens who help build the country. The government has taken many steps to address the problems that youth faces today. However, we must continue to exercise greater efforts to ensure that our young people receive the assistance and the directions they require to realize their full potentials.
The Prime Minister says about 17,000 to 18,000 learners leave high school each year, but about 5,000 are admitted to tertiary institutions. He states that even after completing higher education, not all the youth are able to get job opportunities, hence this program. For Eswatini TV News, Nelson Dlangamandla, Vuminkosi Nzinisa, Dogotweni.
The Minister for Tourism and Environmental Affairs, Moses Vilagate, says the issue of climate change is getting worse by the day, which requires everyone to play a part. Vilagate says the COP27 resolutions laid a great foundation that should inspire all sectors to act now. Vilagate was speaking during a COP27 stakeholder debriefing meeting held in Babane.
The United Nations Climate Change Conference COP27 held in Egypt last year. Historic events were witnessed. This includes the agreement of the establishment of the Loss and Damages Fund. The group of experts that represented the kingdom had a debriefing session to present the key outcomes of the COP27. Officially opening the session, the Minister for Tourism and Environmental Affairs, Moses Vilagate, says government is working tirelessly to get the targets and commitments in the NCD, which translate into concrete projects.
At COP27, significant progress was achieved in advancing critical issues for the most vulnerable countries like Eswatini. The outcome of COP27 laid the foundations for a new method of solidarity between those in need and those in a position to help. It determined a way forward for a decade-long conversation on funding for loss and damage.
The UN representative, Deepak Shah, says Eswatini is among the countries that are affected by climate change.
We recognize that Eswatini is among the most affected and in need of urgent action. Recent weather patterns, combining excessive rainfall as well as scorching heat waves.
The United Nations Secretary-General Antonio Guterres warned on Tuesday that global sea levels have risen faster and their relentless increase puts other countries at risk and acutely endangers nearly 900 million people living in low-lying coastal areas. For Eswatini TV News, Sondo Mlangeni with Temba Shabangu in Babane.
The acting Minister of Natural Resources and Energy, Jabulani Mabuza, says this year the Earth Hour will not only be about switching off lights for 60 minutes for Eswatini, but stakeholders will look for mitigation towards climate change. The minister was speaking at Sibane Sami Hotel at Eswatini when opening the Earth Hour launch and symposium.
This year's launch will not only sensitize the country on energy savings, but will also focus on the increasing need across all sectors to discuss mitigation strategies and actions towards climate change. The aim of the symposium is to create collaborations among local stakeholders to aggressively pursue the development of directed discussions on energy transition, focusing on critical elements required to support the upscaling of renewable energy towards the global net zero target.
The managing director of Eswatini Electricity Company, Ernest Mkonda, says cars and how electricity is produced are some of the causes of pollution which needs attention to reduce climate change.
Kunenge-ke lesikwentako lokufaka nekukhicita gesi kwemandla nemandla lesiwasebentisa etimbonini nemandla lesiwasebentisa ekuhambiseni timoto lesisebenta ngato. Konke lokho kugcina sekukhiphe tinfutfu letimbi letilimata lomoya lesiwuphefumulako, letilimata nemhlabathi lesilima kuwo, kanti futhi kugcina sekungene nasemantini lesiwanatsako.
The Earth Hour is usually celebrated on the 25th of February every year, where businesses, communities and individuals are encouraged to turn off non-essential lights for 1 hour from 8:30 to 9:30 p.m. For Eswatini TV News, Nelson Dlangamandla, Fabrice Mosonera, Ezulwini.
Vaccination certificates will be required to gain entry in Parliament for the opening of the 5th session of the 11th Parliament. According to the Clerk to Parliament, Benedict Xaba, unvaccinated people will be required to test for COVID-19 as health officers will be stationed in Parliament.
Siyathi siyakubona inombolo te-COVID setiya ngekuvela lapha nalapha ngokuthi-ke sive siphephe njengesiphalamende vele institution ye-procedure. So sitawucela ukuthi lonke eliswati lelithole likhadi nalomenyiwe.
The Clerk to Parliament, Benedict Xaba, has announced that those who will be part of the opening of the 5th session of the 11th Parliament on Friday will be required to produce vaccination certificates to gain entry, while those who are not fully vaccinated will be expected to do COVID-19 tests. He says that those who present flu symptoms should consider testing for COVID-19 and put on face masks. He says that those who will test positive will be excused from the event. As early as 7 a.m., health officers will be on the ground to attend those who may need to test and vaccinate. Xaba says everyone will be represented. He emphasized that Eswatini can follow the proceedings through live broadcast. Xaba also encouraged Eswatini to keep time.
Over 27 maize and bean farmers in the Kingdom of Eswatini received farming inputs worth 2.7 million emalangeni from the Food and Agriculture Organization. According to the National Maize Corporation CEO Mavela Vilane, the inputs, which include fertilizers and bean seeds, will play a crucial role in ensuring food security.
In effort to increase food security, the Food and Agricultural Organization has presented farming inputs to local farmers. The National Maize Cooperation CEO, Mavela Vilane, says the donation is expected to assist farmers to plant 105 hectares of beans, 130 hectares of maize. Vilane says farmers will be expected to add one or two things that will make the farming inputs complete. He says that it is expected that at least 150 metric tons of beans and 780 metric tons of maize will be obtained from the intervention.
Siyathokoza sing-NMC nasibona insha lesibona imbiko namuhla ikukhuthalele kulima ngoba nawubuka imvilopho yelive leMaswati angathi bakucabanga kanjani labantu labadzala leya hulumende ibhale ukuthi umhlaba uyimpilo wethu wonke ebuka sinemvilopho leyo inzala kwani nemqondvo loyo and umhlaba uyawuhlale uyimpilo yethu asiwonke.
On behalf of farmers, Temlandvo Mazia says young people and women deserve a fair chance to prove that they can play a part in resuscitating the economy of the country.
Ngeke indlondlobalise thina kuphela ngephana naye nalomunye umuntu lomusha siyathemba ukuthi utawukhona ukuthi afunze kithi and atfole nalomunye umsebenzi asazama naye kucatfuta abheke embili.
The country is working on increasing maize production to 140,000 metric tons a year. For Eswatini TV News, Sondomlangeni with Themba Shabangu, Matapa.
Lubamba Member of Parliament Alan Stewart will rope in a medical expert to challenge a medical report during his appeal in the Supreme Court. This has been submitted by his lawyer Linda Dlamini during his bail application before the High Court on Thursday. Stewart was found guilty of attempted murder.
Lubamba Member of Parliament Alan Stewart was before the High Court on Thursday afternoon for his bail hearing. Stewart told the court that he would rope in an expert to challenge a medical report used during trial, stating that the bullet entry wound was in the back of the complainant. Stewart submitted to the court that he shot the complainant under the arm in self-defense as he wanted to stab him with a knife. The Crown argues that the complainant was running away from Stewart when he got shot. Stewart submitted that another court would have, at most, found him guilty of assault with intent to cause grievous bodily harm, not attempted murder. The Crown argued that this makes no difference as he would have been found guilty. Stewart told the court that he would not skip the country if granted bail as he has a business, wife and children. He also told the court that the 3-year sentence might look like a very long time, but it would not scare him to an extent that he would skip the country and leave his family. The Crown contended that Stewart might skip the country as he has already been sentenced. The court said it would make a ruling as soon as possible. In this matter, Stewart is represented by Linda Dlamini, while Kumbulani Mngomedulu stood in for the Crown. The matter is before Judge Zonke Makakula. For Eswatini TV News, Temgosi Mavimbela with Themba Shabangu and Muzim Konta, High Court.
3 accused persons were brought to court with no one knowing why. The 3 are Bongani Goodman Mamba, Bong Musa Kenneth Gunene and Sbongseni Hoshoba Shongwe, who faced terrorism charges. It was eventually discovered that they were earnestly brought to court.
Judge Ngosinathi Masego was left shocked after 3 accused persons were brought before him on Thursday. Judge Masego said he was surprised how it came to be that the accused persons were brought before him as he had no business with them. The accused persons are Bongani Goodman Mamba, Bongumusa Kenneth Kunene and Sibongiseni Hoshoba Shongwe. They face terrorism charges. They are said to have committed these offences by allegedly setting the Ngutseni Inkundla on fire in 2021. The Crown has applied to conjoin the 3 accused persons' charges. This application will be heard by Judge Masego tomorrow. Shongwe has also filed a bail application which will be heard by Judge Cyril Mapanga tomorrow. The accused have applied that the Crown provides them with evidence it has against them. The Crown promised to provide same soonest. For Eswatini TV News, Temgosi Mavimbela, High Court.
The Supreme Court has had arguments in the appeal of the lawyer accused of raping his children. The accused wants the Supreme Court to set aside the High Court decision to deny him bail. The name of the lawyer has been deliberately withheld to protect the identity of the survivors.
The lawyer filed an appeal before the Supreme Court seeking an order setting aside a judgment by the High Court which denied him bail. The accused faces 5 counts of alleged rape. The accused told the court that the charges he faces may appear heinous and raise a sense of shock. However, he should be presumed innocent until proven guilty. He argued that the concept does not depend on the severity of the alleged offences as reflected on the charge sheet. The accused further submitted that even a serial murderer is entitled to the presumption of innocence. He added that an applicant is presumed innocent until proven guilty by credible evidence. The accused prayed that the court should not be disturbed by the magnitude of the charge alleged on the charge sheet. He added that the presumption of innocence is enshrined in law. The state is opposing his application. The court is expected to make a ruling in the matter. For Eswatini TV News, Temgosi Mavimbela, High Court.
Boto University has been fully accredited by the Eswatini Higher Education Council. Speaking during the announcement in Manzini, the Dean Viswanathan says they have ensured that they follow all the laid down procedures and regulations by the council to achieve this status.
We have ensured that we follow the standards of ISHEC, and we have been approved for the provisional accreditation in 2019. And we have started our first intake in 2019, July 2019, with our 42 students for our 8 different programs.
The Quality Assurance Manager, Dr. Monica Ngwanyana from Eswatini Higher Education Council says Boto University offers competitive programs.
Boto is a different university because they are offering courses that are very rare in this country. And that is what we encourage for institutions, because we are having a lot of sectors and programs that are saturated. Yet we want programs that are going to meet the needs of the country, that are marketable, and those that our employers are looking for. So we want graduates that would be easily absorbed by the labor market. So what Boto is offering is what we need.
Boto University opened its doors for Eswatini in the year 2019. For Eswatini TV News, Nelson Dlangamandla, Themba Shabangu, Manzini.
Dear viewers, now take a look at our financial updates.
Can be.
Welcome back. You're still watching Eswatini TV, and for your sports news tonight, football referee Lucky Makalakalan Dlangamandla has been granted bail by the High Court. Dlangamandla was arrested for the alleged murder of his wife last year. His matter was before Judge Ngosnati Masego.
Lucky Makalakalan Dlangamandla was arrested for the alleged murder of his wife. He filed an urgent bail application before the High Court. In this application, he argued that he had no intention to kill his wife. He told the court that he had an argument with his wife which became physical. The accused narrated to the court that his wife fell on cutlery and then tried to stab him. Dlangamandla alleged that he was able to disarm his wife, who was then stabbed in the process. The accused told the court that he took his wife to hospital and then handed himself over to police. He added that that was where he learned that his wife had died. The court granted him bail set at 15,000 emalangeni and ordered that he pays 3,000 emalangeni cash and provide surety worth 12,000 emalangeni. He was represented by Noncedo Ndlangamandla. For Eswatini TV News, Temgosima Vimbela, High Court.
KFC Eswatini has pumped in over 800,000 emalangeni to the Skaratindwa Foundation, which will be used in running the foundation's development football programs that include under 17 boys and under 15 boys and under 17 girls. Both the Ministry of Education and the Ministry of Sports have applauded both parties for playing a major role in the development of the sports in the country. The official launch was held at Mountain View Hotel in Babane.
KFC Eswatini has donated well over 800,000 emalangeni to the Skaratindwa Soccer Foundation, which is a foundation that prioritizes development of football skills from a young age. Present at the sponsorship launch was the Minister for Education, who was represented by the Principal Secretary in the ministry, Begi Gama, who highlighted the importance of targeting talent at a young age.
As a ministry, we are now implementing what we call competency-based education, where we're looking at competencies, and sports and health are a big part of that program, of that curriculum.
The Minister for Sports, who was represented by the CEO of Eswatini Sports and Recreation Council, Darius Lomo, acknowledged that such programs indeed contribute to the development of sports in the country.
Excited about this KFC sponsorship for unearthing talent in football.
Founder of the Skaratindwa Foundation, Skaratindwa, explained the idea behind his foundation.
Soccer does wonders. These kids, they are here today. Tomorrow, they'll be driving Porsche. They'll be driving all sorts of cars. They'll be supporting their parents. And that's the reason why we're here. We want to make sure that not only do they go to school or eat KFC, they must also prepare for their future.
Nigel England, representative of KFC Eswatini, also explained the idea behind their kind gesture.
And this is part of our investment and commitment to investing back in the communities of Eswatini, providing opportunities for children to participate in sport is essential to their physical and mental well-being.
Other speakers during the event include the National Football Association, Eswatini Olympic Movement and School Sports Association. Other stakeholders are encouraged to follow suit by being part of similar initiatives. Skaratindwa Soccer Foundation was established back in 2009 with an aim to target and develop young talented football players, both boys and girls. This year's sponsorship will mostly give attention to boys under 15 and girls under 17, as well as drum majorettes. Reporting for Eswatini Television, I am Reggie Lamini with Fabrice Musonera, Mbabane.
That is all we had for tonight, but before we wrap up, we'll take a quick recap of today's headlines. The Prime Minister has officially launched the Insika Eliksasa Lensha Eswatini Youth Empowerment Program at Mbaga. The Minister for Tourism and Environmental Affairs says the issue of climate change is getting worse by the day, which requires everyone to play a part. Vaccination certificates will be required to gain entry in Parliament for the opening of the 5th session of the 11th Parliament. That brings us to the end of our news bulletin tonight. Up next is the weather focus for selected towns. Good night, Eswatini.
We're going even lower than we have before. In every island, every store, prices smashing through the floor. Smashing through the floor.
Our lower than low prices are even lower. Get 1 litre Spar 100% fruit juice blend for $19.99 and Spar macaroni or spaghetti, any two for 28 emalangeni. It's the Spar lower than low sale. Now on. Our lower than low prices are even lower. Get 1 litre Spar 100% fruit juice blend for $19.99 and Spar macaroni or spaghetti, any two for 28 emalangeni. It's the Spar lower than low sale. Now on.
Uyeswana! Lalela, sikutshele, tindzaba letibuye enkosini. Uyeswana! Uthokandaba, luthango lonke lakahoho, aluphelele esigodlweni, ebuhleni, luphelele nebugani balo, enyangeni lesetulu, kundlovane, umhla tingamashumi lamabili, natine, kuyothi mhla tingamashumi lamabili, nesihlanu, engomeni yakhe, umhla tingamashumi lamabili, nesithupha, ayachithwa amabutho abaphezu kwemkhono. Usho njalo umsati omnyama kubakala uthuli, ulot mandaba asempelempeleni, ulot mandaba asemampontweni. Ayethe wena phakathi. Ayethe wena phakathi. Phezu komkhono. Phezu komkhono. Ngekuthunywa ngawe emakhosi elithangweni. Ngemgcibelo kubhekeke ukuthi lithango livunule lihiya leli orange. Bese ngelisondo livunula lihiya lelibovu. Luthango ke kufanele ukuthi lubonakale ukuthi luhle kahle, luvunule lokufana nako litoba luhle lihlobise lomsebenzi wemakhosi. Ayethe wena waphakathi.
We're going even lower than we have before. In every island, every store, prices smashing through the floor. Smashing through the floor.
Our lower than low prices are even lower. Get Huggies Dry Comfort Nappies or Nappy Pants Jumbo Pack for $189.99 and Jacob's Cronin Coffee for a low $99.99. It's the Spar lower than low sale. Now on.
Today, you have a choice. How will you become future ready? Are you equipped to lead? How will you transform your career? Regent Business School empowers you with the leadership and entrepreneurial skills to disrupt, rethink, innovate, and be the future. Visit regent.ac.za to register today.
Asinivusele amaswahla amahle ehlelweni sive siyathuthuka libito lami ngiJohn ngwakaPhirezi Sibongo nalo ke lihlelo sive siyathuthuka lokuhlelo longena njalo ke ngensimbi yesiphohlongo maseshaya gabanca njalo ngabolesine lokuhlelo umsakazo loluchuba ngenhloso ekhombisa ke eMaswati intuthuko leyenteka ke etinkundleni lapho kuhleli khona ke eMaswati lena ntuthuko lesikhuluma ngayo intuthuko lesukela ke etimalini letabiwe ke nguhulumende walive laKangwane makaba ke emaphakelo etimali alowo ke eminyaka bese ke kuba nemali lekhishwa ngakho ke icondzane ngqo naleyo nkundla. Silandzela leyo misebenzi ke kubuka ukuthi leyo mali uhulumende lekayikhiphako isebenta ini vele, iyasebenta ini vele, ayasitakala yini eMaswati, ayathuthuka yini vele ke eMaswati. Kuyasijabulisa ke kubona imisebenzi ithuthuka noma kumbe isukuma etinkundleni. Kanti ukukhumbula eMaswati evikini leliphelile ukuthi besisukumise ke noma ke besicale ke umsebenzi kwakukhombisa ke umsebenzi wahulumende lekawucaleke nga2019 kuta ke kuwo ke umnyaka losetulo 2023 lapho ke akhiphe ke imali lengu 14.8 million emalangeni asukumisa ke imisebenzi yemadibhu kanye nekwakha ke tindzawo lapho kulashelwa khona kuphinze kwesulwe imfuyo phecelezi ema-veterinary centers. Emadibhu lekawakhile ke uhulumende kule minyaka lesiyibalako kusukela nga2019 kude ke kube ngomnyaka ange35 kanti ke lama-veterinary centers lekawakhile uhulumende wakhe ke i-veterinary center sifundza ke ngasinye nangasinye lekuletha tholo qina kubo ke bafuyi ukuthi ke imfuyo yabo ke ingalapheka yesuleke ke kamalula. Kanti ke lokhu kuphinze ke ukukhulumise nokuthi live la kangwane linayo ke inshisekelo yokukhicita ke inyama noma ke imfuyo lephinze ke ikhone kungena ke etimakethe tekuthengisa ke inyama ekhaya ke Eswatini kanye nangasetimakethe tangesheya kwetilwandle njengoba ke sathi ke ukuthi live linedivumelwane kanye nenhlangano yemave labamhlophe i-European Union kuthengisa ke yona ke inyama. Le misebenzi yemadibhu iletha ke isiqiniseko sokuthi imfuyo yethu ke ingilephilile ema-veterinary centers, aletha ke isiqiniseko sokuthi ke bafuyi bathola ke lwati nokuthi ke imfuyo yabo ke ilapheke. Kanti ke namuhla siqonza lapha ke enkaba kuyobuka ke noma ke kuyochubeka nokubuka ukuthi ngabe khona ke uhulumende uwakhele ini ke eMaswati njengoba ke nakhona kunemadibhu lamabili uhulumende ke lekawasukumisile